Boiardi di Crypto Gateway. Vi lascio il palco e grazie per essere qui.
Grazie Gianluca, grazie mille a nome di una persona che cerca di costruire community attorno al mondo delle criptovalute da 4 anni. Tu ne sei un rappresentante assieme a Luca, che ringrazio. Grazie per esserti offerto di introdurre la persona che tra poco arriverà sul palco.
Ragazzi, cioè, se penso, Lucia, non so se ti ricordi i primi meetup ai quali venivo, quanti eravamo? 50, 60?
Sì, la metà della metà della metà della metà.
E se allora mi avessero detto, sappi che in un futuro Sisi arriverà in Italia, io ti avrei riso in faccia, perché avrei detto in Italia, con tutti i posti che ci sono. E invece no, io veramente sono ancora senza parole. Oggi credo che ci possiamo dimenticare della price action, che forse è meglio, e pensare a quello che sta succedendo, perché siamo veramente nel posto giusto al momento giusto.
Esatto, noi ci eravamo preparati tutto uno speech, avevamo detto, perché ci sono tante similitudini tra il 2019 e il 2022, ma siamo sopravvissuti, siamo qui, quindi sopravviveremo anche in questo periodo, ma l'ospite d'onore è impaziente di venire qui a parlare con voi, quindi lasciatemi solo ringraziare Federico Morgantini di Forbes che lo intervisterà. Roberto Leonardi per aver organizzato tutto questo in pochissimo tempo. Tutta la community delle cripto, anche tutti i cripto influencer che sono qua, che vedo. Grazie ragazzi per diffondere contenuti social. Cito Luca come rappresentante.
Non sono solo.
Tutto il team di Binance, Lorenzo Capone, David Prinzò, Filippo Balsano, Gianluigi Guida. Ellen A, Martin Brunco, Chiara Carpinelli. Se adesso posso presentare l'ospite d'onore è perché c'è stato un team di squadra, quindi date il benvenuto sul palco al CEO e founder di Binance. Ciao Penzao, detto Sisi. Sisi, benvenuto.
Hello guys. Hello guys. Welcome in Rome. Thank you. So guys, we are going to speak in English. Let's down. We are going to speak in English. It will be very easy because my English is super easy. Very Italian English. And CZ will do the best to speak easy English as well, okay?
Yeah, I'll try.
Good. CZ, when Lucia asked me to interview you, I was very happy. We have a very, very strong link, Forbes and you. I bring here something that probably many of them, they don't know. CZ was on the cover of Forbes in February 2018. So we are speaking about 4 years ago already. 4 years ago already was one of the best, one of the richest, crypto richest.
I don't think it's true.
Yeah, it's still not used. You can imagine. That's it. Okay, this is our magazine, but this is just 1 second of advertising. So let's go with the real topics of tonight. I'm very happy because I prepared some question and sent the question because Lucia was very strong, telling me don't make too tough questions. And CZ said me,
I'll post it soon.
Social moment. So CZ told me, I didn't read the question. You feel free to ask what you prefer. So this is very, very a good sign from you. Thanks.
I think anything goes. I've been asked pretty tough questions before.
Okay, let's break the ice. You arrived in Rome. Did you fall in love for this city at the first sight or what?
Yes, many times. Already in the last 2 days. Rome is a fantastic city. Yeah.
Rome, every time you turn your face, you fall in love again.
Yes. I think, how could you not love Rome?
But we we know Rome, we love Rome, and we are sure that you are here also for the beauty of Rome, but we are also sure that you are here for something more than this. What are you expecting from your trip in Rome? Who are you going to meet in Rome?
Sure. I think this is like the third time I've been to Italy, but the first time in Rome. I was in Milan before and Florence before, just for traveling. Because of COVID, I haven't traveled in the last couple of years. So now this is the first time after COVID I'm here. Of course, we want to push more crypto adoption. We want to be able to offer our services to more users in Italy. And that involves working closely with regulators, getting licensed. And also, in addition to licensing and regulatory stuff, we are always looking to hire the best talent. So Italy has very strong universities. We're looking for talent in almost every role, tech, marketing, customer support, everything, even a CEO role. We are also looking to invest heavily in education, charity efforts, etc. We already have a partnership with 3 universities here. We want to expand that to about 30 universities. So so everything that we have, Italy is a very important, as you can see, very enthusiastic market. So it's an important market for us. So we want to be able to offer our services to more of our community. Thank you.
Guys,
yes.
It's a kind of a call to action. It said it's looking for talent. Italy is full of talent. Go to university. So now it's up to you to send your CV to Binance.
Yes, please.
You said the magic words. A few days ago, you got the license in France, as officially the name is Digital Asset Service Provider. So you got the license in France, but we know that Europe have not rules, general rules. So you must somehow get the license in each country. Yeah. Are you here also for this, to start the process to get the license in Italy?
Yes, I think our Italian team has fully prepared to submit everything. I believe, my understanding, I learned on this trip that the window of submitting applications open on May 18th. And I think our team's fully ready to submit all the documents. We prepared everything as soon as that registration opens. And then hopefully we'll see how things go. Hopefully we'll have a registration soon and be able to offer our services in a licensed way.
I think it's going like this. Every word you say, they will.
It's the words you say.
They are fun. They are fun, more than fun. We said France, okay, Italy. I know that you already visited Portugal. Yeah. So what is going to happen? You are going country by country looking for a license or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Because today the VASP, the Virtual Asset Services Provider, or DASP, however you call it, today they're not passportable. Even if you get one in France, it doesn't mean that we can use it in Italy. So we have to go country by country, and that's fine. If it has to be done, we'll get it done. Hopefully, within a year or two, the MiCA will kick in, and that will allow the registrations or licenses to be passportable in Europe. That would be ideal. But before that, we'll just continue going country by country. I was in Lisbon, Porto, like 4 or 5 months ago. As soon as travel opened up, it's a fantastic place as well, just like the rest of Europe. A lot of history. Portugal is quite good on the crypto taxes. There's no capital gain taxes on crypto so far. So and also the talent pool is a nice place to live. Europe is always very comfortable. The wine is good. So yeah, so not as good as here, of course. Yeah. So. I gotta watch out for what I say.
But this is very good news for us, because somehow in Italy, I think that a lot of people can join the crypto industry, can join the crypto investment the day that is regulated. Italy is, how to say, staff for financial regulation. As a publishing company, we publish a magazine that is based, the target is financial consultant. A country in which you need a magazine for this kind of people means that it's fully regulated. So it's good that you want to join our regulation. And I think that if you're going to do this, it's because in your idea, regulation will bring a mass adoption. Is this the reason or there is another reason?
I think for us, there are many reasons that we actually do want to embrace regulation. This is a slightly controversial topic for some of the crypto OGs. There's a small number of people in crypto that are against any type of centralization. For those guys, I think they will have to use, decentralized exchanges, DEXs, etc., DeFi, which, nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. For a centralized business like our Binance.com main business, we have to get regulated. And I think regulations help in many ways. Today, the crypto adoption is probably around 3 to 5%. But the rest of what we call the mass adoption, the mass population, the rest of most of the people today, most of those guys, even some of those guys may not like governments or politicians, but they would actually usually prefer to use a government licensed exchange. It feels safer because people are depositing money with us. Yes. And if there's a problem, they know where to go. They know where our office is. We'll have a local, we registered Binance Italy about a month and a half ago. So there's a local company, local representatives, local team. So that increases consumer confidence. And that would actually bring the rest of the 95% of people into crypto at a much faster pace. So we want to help the growth. And I personally believe this is actually one of the best ways to increase the speed of adoption for crypto. For the regulators, for the countries, it's also very important. Having regulatory clarity attracts this industry to the local economy. I think there was an article yesterday or 2 days ago about Dubai. Dubai, over the last year or so, attracted $46 billion of investments. And 18% of them are estimated to be crypto related. We went to Dubai. I went to Dubai 6 months ago. There was 2 or 3 companies. After we went there, a lot of players in the industry went there. So now, Dubai is talked about very heavily. So we want to, having clear regulations will allow industry players to come. It helps the local economy tremendously. And for us, it's also very helpful because we want to know how to operate this business. What can we do? What can we not do? And hopefully we can do as much as we can to the extent of, we want to encourage innovation, but not also protecting consumers at the same time. It's always a balance. So all of those things really help us. There is another very selfish reason, I'll say it very publicly. In a regulated world, the smaller exchanges, so today in the exchange world, we're by most matrices, we're by far the biggest. And then the second place is, you're a few times smaller than us, but it drops off very quickly. But there's thousands of exchanges, small exchanges, in the sort of, it's a very long tail. There's tens of thousands of small exchanges with 0.something market share. And some of those exchanges don't operate very properly because they need to survive. They're much crazier than how we operate. Yes. Sometimes that actually do hurt consumers. And that also creates a little bit of a reputational issue for us. So we want the industry to operate in a healthy way, to grow in a healthy way. Having regulations actually will most likely cut off all of the other long tail. In a regulated industry, a few large players remain, and we are one of the largest. Well, I do encourage more, but in this industry, though, I think there will continue to be a lot of startups because raising money in this industry is much, much easier than in traditional industries. So we'll continue to see more and more exchanges come, but they have to get to a scale quickly, and they have to operate in a proper way. So I think all of this is actually helpful. Some people may or may not agree with it, but this is the path that we've chosen.
But this is right. The long tail small player that probably they don't work with the attention you do. They don't work with the cybersecurity you do. Yeah. So when they found the wallet empty, it's a problem for all the industry, no? Just one bad sample make a problem for all others. So this is understandable. At this point, we always said, if you wanted to plan your life, you must have a clear idea where is your company and where you are in 10 years. So tell us, what do you think about Binance and crypto industry in 10 years?
10 years is usually the toughest part to predict. Usually 20 years, I can confidently say that I think crypto will be everywhere. I think if you imagine the kids who are 10 years old today becomes 30, blockchain, cryptocurrencies will be as ubiquitous as internet today. Internet took about 20 to 30 years to become really, really fully adopted. Even today, I mean, there's a population that doesn't use internet that much, like my mom's generation. So I think in 20 years is quite easy to predict. 10 years is really difficult, actually. A lot of things can happen in 10 years, but it's very hard to predict what exactly will happen. Even like shorter term, 2 years, 6 months. Like if you asked me at the beginning of 2021, I probably would not have said NFTs. But guess what? 6 months later, NFTs was all the rage. If you asked me at the beginning of 2020, I probably would not have said DeFi. And by July, DeFi was all the rage. If you asked me at the beginning of 2017, I probably would not have said ICOs. But by June, we're doing our own ICO. And ICO was all the rage in 2017. So this kind of trends are very difficult to predict. But what we do typically is I don't try to predict the future. That's not my superpower. Binance's superpower is we have ability to execute. So when we see something's already trending, we execute quickly and we catch on to it. So Binance has our exchange platform. We have our NFT platform. We contribute to BNB Chain, which has one of the highest number of active users in terms of DeFi platforms. So we have multiple teams doing multiple things, and most of them operate very autonomously. Many times I find out we did something on Twitter. So after it's public, our teams published it, and then I thought, oh, okay, we did this thing. Who did it? So that's kind of how Binance operates. So my job is very much just selecting the best, attracting the best people, and then give them freedom, and then give them power, give them funding, give them freedom to execute. So that's kind of how we operate. So I see many small different experiments being tried. Many of them fail, but the ones that have become successful become very successful.
So we can say that. Can we say that in 10 years, Binance will be behind the trend, running with the trend, and probably quicker than others. So in the same situation, whatever is the landscape.
I'll try to make one very bold prediction. I think in 10 years, decentralized exchanges will be bigger than centralized exchanges. Yeah, so
this we must sign. Let's take note of this.
Yeah, so I think Binance.com will be smaller than some DeFi. Hopefully, then this is the reason why we invest very heavily in DeFi.
Clear. This is a strong. This is a strong indication. So, in your sentence, I catch NFT. Yeah. So NFT for sure is the buzzword of the last 2 years, yeah. At least the last years. So we said you don't like to make 10 years preview. Let's say 20 years preview. What will be NFT industry in 20 years?
I think the technology will definitely stay. So this is the first time in human history we're able to uniquely authenticate ownership of something, and we can keep the history on the blockchain. It's completely open, completely verifiable. I think today the use case of NFTs are still what I call kindergarten level use cases. You bid on JPEGs and monkeys and apes and stuff, which is great. I'm not against that. So all of those are very, very interesting. But I think we haven't unlocked the full potential of the technology. For example, events, right? So when we attend an in-person event, we shouldn't have to we should just use the NFT to authenticate ticketing. When you guys enter into this facility, you should just be a QR code or tap a phone, and then you hold that NFT, and then you come in. And then even after the event, that NFT still stays, so that shows you attended this event. That might have some value, may not, who knows. Merchandise authentication, right? So many sports teams, they are global. Today we live in a global world, but most of the payment systems are only local. So it's very difficult for Lazio to sell their merchandise into Asia, into China, into Indonesia. There's many counterfeits there. And NFTs can probably fix that light too. But like, so for example, we can now use NFTs to say, hey, you buy the NFT first, and then you go to an official store to reclaim that merchandise. This way, the sports teams always gets the benefit, and the users always, the fans always buy authentic merchandise. So there's a lot more. I can go on forever, but those kind of use cases are not done today yet, but they will be done in 10 years, I think. So I think we're just at the beginning.
Beginning of a technology that for sure is shaping the future. I have a TV show that is Forbes Digital Revolution. Maybe every 10 guests, 5 are speaking about NFT nowadays. All of them, whatever is the business they do, they are doing it using NFT. So for sure, the technology is something breaking technology. Be able to transfer the value in a digital way is something very extraordinary. No? Everybody we know in the past, if you transfer a digital file, a digital object, usually you make a copy of it. One copy is for you, one copy is for the people that receive it, like PDF or whatever. With NFT, all of you already know this because they are a community on the topics. But in any case, just to remember the meaning of NFT, the moment in which you transfer an NFT, you lose the ownership. This is the first time in the history. If you think about a big photographer, Olivero Toscani in Italy or Newton in US, they was not able to sell their picture because selling means make a copy of the picture. With NFT, you don't make the copy. This is completely a revolution. But it's a revolution when the NFT is a picture, but it's also a revolution when the NFT is a financial, not fungible products. Yep. So it's changing, NFT are changing the art, are going to change also the finance. What is the future of finance? Is only crypto or is no fungible crypto?
I think the fungible tokens will also stay. Just because, in the internet, right? Just because there's social media doesn't mean we don't need search engines. So crypto blockchain has many different applications. So many people think about crypto as one thing, or like they try to get what's the asset type. That's not the right way to look at it, I think. It's like also like in the internet. When the internet first started, people ask, is internet a TV, a radio, or a magazine, or something else? But guess what? There's internet TV, there's internet radio, there's internet, many other things, social media, and many other things that we don't have in traditional media. Blockchain is a technology. Now in blockchain, there's cryptocurrencies, there's crypto commodities, there's crypto securities, there's NFTs, there's fungible tokens. So none of them are really, they don't have to conflict with each other. And also NFTs or fungible tokens, they don't, the technology itself is just a way to keep record. It can be used in financial applications. It can be used by artists. It can be used by, real estate. It can be used in many different places. I think today, the first application we're looking at is money. So it deals with more financial applications. But the technology can be used in many other places. But having said that, I also want to say that blockchain or NFTs are not a solution for everything, right? So it's a technology. Any technology is good for many things, but it doesn't solve every problem. So many traditional technology can still be used to solve certain problems. So we've got to use the right technology for the right problem. But today, I think NFTs can be used in financial applications. They can be used in non-financial applications. Real estate is a perfect example, right? It's when you can sell houses online to people, and land registries can be done using NFTs. And then now you can sell to a global audience instead of just in one country. So there's many, many use cases. I think we're just at the beginning.
Okay.
Thank you.
So finance, NFT can enter in finance, we said. The value of money is changing with crypto. DeFi is having a hype. What do you think the future of finance? I don't want to tell you 10 years or 20 years, but what do you think in the future finance will be?
I think the future of finance is definitely going to have blockchain. That part you cannot get rid of. This technology is here. It's like the future of information sharing will not be on paper. It's going to be on the internet. So the future of finance, the future of money, the future of fintech sectors is definitely going to be on the blockchain. I think we already have a superior technology for value transfer, for validation, for record keeping, for fundraising, for selling art, for loans, interest, financial services, products. So it's already here. It won't go away. So the technology, you can't erase the technology. Technology is a concept in people's head. If we kill Bitcoin today, tomorrow there will be Bitcoin 2, or there's already many copies of Bitcoin. So it's a concept that you can't kill. So once the concept is distributed to enough people's minds, I think today there's probably like 300 to 500 million people around the world who are deeply into crypto. Everybody probably heard about crypto by now. So we cannot go back. So the adoption will just increase. And there's like millions of people, tens of millions of people around the world trying to figure out working on many different applications. Be it decentralized loans, liquidity provision. There's probably many more. I think if you look at some of the new use cases in blockchain today, global fundraising, you can do it much better, much easier using crypto. Selling art globally. So all of these things you can't do with traditional finance. And then more and more though, crypto will slip into the traditional financial world. I think today we don't really use Bitcoin to pay for coffee, etc. But 10 years from now, I think that will happen.
Yeah. Look, my question, next one was just the idea to ask you how long we keep the process to leave the old money and to leave, and I mean leave to go the old money and leave using the new money. How long? 10 years?
It's very
15,
hard.
20?
It's very hard to predict, but I think the adoption always follows a curve. So initially it's fairly flat, it's pretty slow, and then usually like a bell curve. So initially it's quite slow, and then initially it's the early adopters that are into the technology, that are true believers. We need to reach about 10 to 15%. Right now we're still at 5%, 3 to 5%. So we're still at the flat curve part. And then once we reach 10, 20%, the curve starts to go up faster. That's when like many of your friends already have it. And if you don't have it, you can't really transact with them. It's not, etc. And then it will go up to like 50, 60, 70%. And then the adoption rate will slow down again. Because like there is an older generation which are less technology savvy, or even the younger generation. There are people who are just not technology savvy. They just want to hold on to the old stuff. And then the old technology still have use. Even paper is still used today. Like we used to have to hold a piece of paper on stage. So it will take 20, 30 years for a generation to pass before we become fully digital or fully blockchainized. So typically, based on previous technologies, you always internet took about 30 years. It's probably reached about 90% adoption. Like in a developed country like this, it's probably 90-something%. But if you look at Africa, it's still not quite there. But now blockchain is post-internet. So theoretically, it should happen faster because now we have the internet to distribute learning information. But at the same time, blockchain touches money. We will see a lot of resistance from traditional industries. So there's different forces at play. But the adoption will continue. It's not going to stop. So I would say 20 years is probably a safe bet. But I'm always known to be conservative. When Binance first started, I set a goal, but we want Binance to be a top 10 exchange in the world in 3 years. We got to the number 1 in 6 months, so I'm very often wrong.
So maybe everything will happen much faster than
maybe 6 months. We don't know.
But there is a limit somehow, because we know that one of the limits of blockchain is the work that you have behind blockchain. If you speak about Bitcoin, it's still a proof of work. And we know how much is important nowadays the sustainability. Sustainability that is not only for the environment, is also for number of transactions. Yeah. If now is only 3, 4, 5 million people that really move crypto, when you have 2 billions, what is going to happen? So what can be the solution? What can be the blockchain model that will win?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things there. I think number one is the how energy inefficient or efficient is a Bitcoin blockchain. I personally hold a very different view from many publicly voiced views. I personally think that today many people have a misconception thinking that Bitcoin is not energy efficient or is not environmentally friendly. I think that's completely wrong. So I think people don't, just because we can measure the energy consumption of Bitcoin doesn't make it less efficient. If you think about any type of system that we have today to manage a $2 trillion asset of any kind, the amount of energy, the amount of people, the amount of expenses required to maintain such a network, and Bitcoin's network, the Bitcoin market cap is 2 trillion, but the amount of transacted on the Bitcoin network last year, I don't know what the number on top of my head, is probably hundreds of trillions. So to facilitate that type of flow, if we think about our current systems to facilitate that type of flow, when you transfer $200, you got to pay $30 in fees if you're transferring cross borders. If you're just doing Europe, it's okay. It's SEPA, it's fine. But yeah, but if you think about, even with SEPA, if you think about the number of people that's sitting in the banks, if you look at any downtown sky view, all the big buildings have bank logos. If you think about the amount of energy, the amount of people they employ, and the amount of costs involved in running those networks, it's way more than whatever Bitcoin mining is. Bitcoin mining, so that's Bitcoin. And then, we also have many other more efficient blockchains that use a proof of stake. And they use far less energy. They're less decentralized than Bitcoin, but they're more efficient. So there's different trade-offs. So, but I think I'm very, very convinced that if we strip away the narrative, many people like to spin a narrative, say, hey, it's Bitcoin because how many watts it's using. But they don't measure, they don't compare to something else that they don't measure. So even cars, right? Even Tesla uses electricity, and that's good. Why? It still uses electricity, but it's more efficient than the other cars. That's why it's good. So if we compare Bitcoin to what the alternative is, Bitcoin is extremely efficient. The other blockchains are far more efficient. So I think energy consumption, environmental friendliness, for the people who care about that, they should use crypto. It's far more efficient.
In this case, in your view, decentralized money and decentralized finance will be the future, maybe 10 years, maybe 20, but is the future. If this is the future, it means that the future is much different than today, because we know that money and finance nowadays is a tool for governments. Governments, through the banks, through the central banks, can use the money and the finance also to make policy. We know very well. So for sure, this new finance and new money, it will be a threat for governments. What do you think? How they are going to react?
I think different governments are going to react in different ways. I think there's many technology innovations before that have always disrupted. Every innovation is somewhat disruptive. If you look at internet, if you look at printing, if we look at education, if we look at freedom from slavery. So it used to be that, a few elites control all the slaves, and, whenever there's freedoms that's introduced, there's always some disruption. But today we have 200 different governments in the world. Some governments are extremely well run. Some governments want to hold on to their power, and by government we shouldn't be looking at even one government as in one entity. If any government consists of many individuals, there's many different departments, many different agencies, different people. So each government is probably consists of thousands or tens of thousands or even more than that. So each person has a different view. Some people may be of the mindset, this thing may remove my job and I cannot learn a new job, so I'm gonna resist it. Some bankers may say, hey, this thing may replace a bank. But guess what? There may be another person right beside him that says, hey, look, this new technology is gonna make all of our citizens stronger. It's a new money tool that will help make our economy more efficient. And then when our economy is more efficient, our citizens will become, they will have more chances to do entrepreneurial projects. They can raise money easier. They can sell their art easier. And our citizens will become richer. When our citizens all become richer, let's say, take an extreme example. If all the citizens become 10 times richer, the government is going to be 10 times more influential in the global markets. And then Jesus. When you talk about governments,
how will they react?
Yeah.
They start immediately.
Yes. So, but the good governments will want this ability, because now when their citizens get stronger, when their economies get stronger, they become stronger. They may have less control on direct money issuing, stimulus, all these other things. But whenever you embrace a new technology, it's generally much better for the population. When the population gets stronger, the country gets stronger, and the government gets stronger. The smarter governments are realizing this. So we now see that many governments in the world who are adopting this full-on. Dubai, Bahrain, France, very hopefully, I think Italy will follow for sure. So I think Italy is very well governed, to be honest. So the stronger governments does not need to, there's a difference between retaining power for yourself and saving your job for yourself, and making things better for the population. Governments should be working for the population. So governments should work hard to make the population stronger. And I always say this in business, don't worry about the job. In a strong government, there'll be more and more interesting jobs. So whenever there's always more opportunities in the future than there were in the past. Today, you have much more opportunity to do startups than 10, 100 years ago. Why? Because we now have the internet. We now have better information sharing. The economy is stronger. So whenever technology innovation progression is always good for everybody. Today, there's probably more people working in government than there were 100 years ago. So all of these things help in the long run, but there always some short-term pain. Even as a business, as we embrace innovation, regulation, we have to limit this business here and there at times. There's short-term pains, but then it will help us to grow in the future. So there's always trade-offs. Yeah.
So we told our community that the speech, the interview, it will be on the future, but they didn't told me if must be fast future, very close future. So I'm going to ask you something that is very close future, but probably a lot of people in this room want to know your opinion. What is going to happen to the market? Wow, this big fall. And we have to sell, we have to keep. What we have to keep, what we have to sell?
Just hold. So on this topic, actually, I would like to share my views as well. It will be a little bit of a long answer. The short version is I don't know how the price is going to go up or down in the short term. Longer term, I think this industry will stay. There will be more people coming in. And we've seen the Bitcoin graph. It goes in that kind of cycles. And a couple of things. Number one is if you're not a trader by trade, if your job is not a trader, just because coming into crypto, it should not make you automatically a trader. So if you're not a stock trader, don't be a trader in crypto. So if you want to hold some Bitcoin, buy some Bitcoin, hold it. If you want to hold some BNB, please. But don't become a day trader. Day trader is a very, very tough job. It requires a very specific type of skill that most people do not have. For most of us today, we are very specialized in one or two skills. And the people who specialize in trading skills, less than 10% of the population, and they become extremely good because that's all they do. So if you're not a trader by training, you don't become a trader. You do not automatically become a good trader just by getting into crypto. I do think crypto does offer the most fair trading environment because Bitcoin is traded on thousands of exchanges. There's really much less manipulation than in traditional markets. But crypto is highly volatile. The second thing is I do encourage people to learn about crypto and then decide for yourself whether you want to invest or come in. When you do that, start very, very slowly. At the beginning, take whatever cash that you can lose, invest less than 1% of that. And this is important because you have to learn about the security protocols. You have to download a wallet. You have to save a private key. You have to back it up. You have to encrypt it. If you use Binance, you have to remember. You have to keep your computer clean. You have to set up a password, 2FA, all this other stuff. Most people lose some crypto. Maybe they forgot their own password. They forgot their phone. Most people that I know have lost crypto. So start small. Learn about how to use it. Crypto is not just for trading. Crypto is for many things. And then after that, when you want to do trading, start with small amounts, with that 1%. If you can turn $100 into $200, then you can add $200 more and try to make that into $400 and add $400 more. If you can't make $200 into $400, start trading with $20. Because if you cannot make money trading using a small amount, you're not going to make money trading using a large amount. It's much harder trading using a large amount. People think that whales, because they have more money, it's easier to trade. It's not true. Whenever you want to buy, the price moves up because you're buying so much. Whenever you want to sell, the price moves down. You have market
poor people. Really sorry for them. Man.
Yeah. So but it's much harder to trade with larger amounts. So if you're not making money with small amounts, reduce your amount. Don't increase it. And then for most people, you're not going to be traders. Just hold. And when you hold, make sure it's with money that you don't need in the short term. So if you're going to pay, if you need that money to pay rent 2 months down the road, don't put that into crypto. If your rent is in fiat, So control your risk. And the way I typically recommend people defining risk is very different for every individual person. When people say something's risky, it may be risky for me, or it may be risky for you, but it may not be risky for me. So everybody's risk profile is very different. So the way I define risk is think about the worst case scenario, which is everything goes to zero. Is your life still going to be okay? And if the answer is yes, then you can invest with them. You can play with that money. If the answer is no, then you got to reduce your amount. You got to readjust your strategy. So so many people know that I sold my house, I quit my job, got into crypto, and if Bitcoin went to zero, my lifestyle will be fine. I can get a job, and I can still earn. So for me, that was tolerable risk. So that was completely fine. But for a different person, that may be different. So don't look at what people do. Think about the risk tolerance level for yourself if in the worst case scenario.
And this is a lesson you said by yourself. This is a lesson from someone that make all in crypto, selling your home.
Yes. So when you see people push all in, they may be okay. But for example, they may have relatives that can take care of them. They may have rich fathers that will give them more money. But it doesn't mean that you can push all in. So you have to judge the risk for yourself. So risk is a very individual, tailored word. So don't listen to people talking on Twitter about risk.
Remaining in trading, on any case, speaking about different crypto projects, different DeFi projects, what do you think is going to happen to the thousands and thousands of small crypto projects existing today? In 10 years, 20 years, how many crypto will remain?
I think it's always the same. The majority of them will fail. This is like startups, internet, just companies in general. I think probably more than 9 out of 10 companies fail. I think the crypto world, especially is new, crypto NFTs, the majority of them will fail. But the few that become successful will become extremely successful. So I'll give you an example. The Binance Labs, which is our investment arm, we invested in about 120, 130 projects over the last 3-4 years. 70-80% of them did, they're significant below value. But the 10 or so, which is already a very large number for us, did more than 100x. We only need one of them to do 100x to have a good return. But we have some that even went 1,000x. So you need to depending on your investment strategy. So for Binance Labs, that's the institutional investment arm. So their strategy is very simple. It's investing many different things. All of them they select very carefully. But guess what? Many of them do fail. So that's the nature of how this world works. And the other thing people don't realize is many people think, okay, I can be really smart and just invest in the 10 that are successful. It doesn't work that way because you don't know ahead of time. And then also, even if for the ones that are successful, without the failures, they don't become successful. So many of the people who fail one business do the second one, do a third one. Binance is my fifth or sixth startup, depending on how you count it. So without the failures, the successful ones don't come. So the industry is always like that. There's 90% failure rate, but the industry continue to grow. So that's how it works.
Okay. Okay, let's go a little bit more hard question.
Sure. Those were not hard enough.
Not hard, but more sensitive question. So we are living a period that is really extraordinary, but not because it's crazy good, but because it's completely out of our imagination. We have a war in Europe very close. What is the role of crypto in the war between Ukraine and Russia?
I think crypto services a few very important roles. I think number one, the most important thing people realized after the war broke is fiat currencies backed by a country is not stable. If you look at the Russian ruble, even oil price, stuff like that, none of them are stable. So I think that teaches us that the crypto blockchain is actually the most neutral, the most global, and the most sustainable way of maintaining records and maintaining financial networks. And if you look at Ukraine, when they asked for donations, they did not ask for it in euro. They asked for it in cryptocurrencies. And if you look at the blockchain transactions for the donations, many of them are $100, $50, $10. And many of them come from, Asia, America, Latin America, even Africa. If you send money cross continents with $10, it doesn't work. Like the fees can be higher than that.
Possible.
Yeah. So so now blockchain is used for what I call global fundraising. It includes donations and charity efforts. Binance ourselves, we donated $10 million right away for the humanitarian efforts. So I think even till today, it's probably the largest announced amount. I don't know if other big companies have donated anonymously. We're also helping people who are negatively affected in Ukraine and to be honest, to some extent in Russia, for them to move their assets out of Russia, which in theory should actually help the war, because it should help reduce the war, because there's many people leaving Russia. And on the Ukraine side, we are now working with the governments directly. I speak with the Ministry of Digital, Minister of Digital, and we have multiple initiatives going on. We are donating up to $3 million on the educational efforts for like 3,000 kids. We are helping them to build infrastructure, TV broadcasting stations, the communication infrastructure. We're also helping them with the crypto regulations, etc. So there's many. We have about 10 or so different charity efforts going on in Ukraine. I cannot iterate all of them. We also used our own ability to try to get our teams out of Ukraine and out of Russia. So Binance, we have a large effort to get our own teams out. So I think, we are also inviting other crypto players to come along with us to help Ukraine. So and then Ukraine adopted the crypto framework just after the war started. So you can see that this technology for money is very, very important, especially during turbulent times. I think right now it's still playing a small role, but over the long term, I think it will play an increasingly more important role.
Ecco, ora sì che dovete fare un applauso, dai. I know that there is a space also for questions from the public. So I make the only one, the last one. Lucia, the last, it's okay? Okay, allora I make the last one, then we give the words to the people so they can ask you. I am in media business, and somehow we are also shareholder, we are also partner, because I am a small shareholder of Forbes in Italy, and you are a big shareholder in Forbes America. Few of them, maybe they know this, but Binance bought a big stack of Forbes, 200 million euro, I think, the investment. USD, yeah. USD, 200 million USD in Forbes. And now you promise also to enter in Twitter together with Elon Musk. So one day you went all in crypto, but now you are investing in a very old style industry that is media industry. What is going on? What is the plan behind it?
Yeah. So actually, just for clarification, both deals are in progress. Both deals are not fully done yet. Yeah. So, but our commitment is there, and I think the Forbes deal is going through the final approvals of from the regulators, and in the U.S. But we invested a decent amount, but we're still like we're the equal largest single shareholder. So if the deal is done, we will have 30% of Forbes. But we're not the majority. So, and we want to be, we don't know how to run media businesses. We want to keep the editorial.
Can help.
So we want to keep the editorial completely independent. What we want to do is to bring, actually, a larger picture. What we want to do overall is we want to look at every sector in different industries and then pick one or two businesses, invest in them, and then help to bring them from Web 2 or from the traditional world into the Web 3 world, into the crypto world. I strongly believe by doing this, we should be able to help them create much more stronger financial models. So for example, taking Forbes, for example, Forbes is a very international magazine. Even myself, when I try to sign up, you ask for a credit card, it often fails. And many times I only want to read one or a few articles. Why isn't that an option for me to pay, I don't know, $1, $5, $10 for just our article? And if I can pay with crypto, it's much easier because when I want to read Forbes US, it's a different credit card that I need to use. So payment integration is one thing. And today, news is digital. So very few people use like fewer people use printed versions now. So that's just one thing. And then Forbes could issue NFTs for articles, for content. You could issue a coin. That could be read to earn. There could be many different models that we can help to create newer models for the business. To the point, I actually think that a business like Forbes, if Forbes can fully embrace Web3, you don't need to do advertising. So you can get rid of all ads. So there will be no pop-ups. There will be no the articles will be consistent. There's not banners in between articles. So we can remove all of that and then still have a much more viable business model. And if we can do that for Forbes, guess what? Then maybe Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, all these other journals will be like, hey, we gotta catch on too. And then we bring the entire sector into crypto. So if we can do this with media, with gaming, with e-commerce, with real estate, then we can bring more and more people into crypto. So we want to pick in different sectors, one or two businesses should be enough, and then bring them to crypto. Twitter is a little bit of a special case. Twitter is important for a number of reasons. It's important for free speech. So we want to support free speech. We are a very freedom-driven organization. So we always want to support freedom. That's number one. Number two is we also want to help Twitter to migrate from Web 2 to Web 3. So I think we can provide a lot of help. Twitter is one of the products I personally use a lot. So it's a tool that I'm a heavy user. I actually use Twitter more than I use Binance, way more. Yeah, I mean, I don't trade, so I don't really use Binance. And then Binance is just a wallet for me. I hold my assets on Binance. That's it. And then Elon Musk is a very strong entrepreneur. I would call him a big entrepreneur. I'll call myself a small entrepreneur. So this is a case where a small entrepreneur is supporting a big entrepreneur. So and I think we're just very fortunate to have the chance to be invited to the table. I think being able to participate in Twitter also sends a very strong message that now crypto businesses are funding society platforms that are important for free speech. So this sends a very strong signal that crypto is no longer a small niche thing. We are funding key platforms in the world.
They're in the game.
Yes.
Allora, Roberto, non solo hai organizzato tutto, naturalmente con le tue aziende No Silence e Blockchain Management, ma ci porti anche l'acqua, quindi io farei anche un applauso a Roberto. E poi ditemi voi come organizzare le domande dal pubblico, io magari faccio un po' da mediatore. E chiederei al pubblico di evitare di raccontare progetti, non è che raccontando il progetto a CZ lo troverete finanziato, c'è il percorso giusto che trovate sulle varie piattaforme, quindi Evitiamo magari quello di presentare progetti personali e poi il resto a voi. Guarda, qua c'è una mano che ha iniziato a alzarla
eccoci.
quando abbiamo iniziato a fare le domande.
Hi. What about you think about more secure Binance Smart Chain with more rug pull, exploit, and flash loan? Because there is so many people also there is a project with Binance Labs, Qubit with the Mount team. Is third time we have lost the money of so many people, so many users. What do you think about to create more secure Binance Smart Chain?
Yes, so it's a tricky one. So this balances. In a decentralized world, on a decentralized blockchain, anybody can deploy a smart contract, and they can create a DeFi pool. And if the smart contract have a backdoor or there's an administrator key, etc., there could be possibilities of either a rug pull or just a security hack. In this type of situations, to be honest, there's no one way to 100% eliminate the problem. The only way to eliminate that problem is to, number one, don't use DeFi, or we control it completely. That will remove the decentralization aspect of it. So this balances. If we want full decentralization with no single party in control, then that type of security issues do come in. As a user, again, so do not put all your money into one DeFi protocol as a risk measure, because even if the team doesn't rug pull, there could be a security bug with that smart contract, etc. So you do need to learn how to risk control. So spread your investments over a few different projects, etc. From Binance's perspective, we actually can do a few things, which we actually very actively do. Number one is user education. So we have a lot of education content out there. I believe that's the best thing long term. People need to learn how to protect themselves. Second thing is when a rug pull happens, or even when a hack happens, we have a lot of data. We have a blockchain analyst team. They track all the blockchain data to see where the money goes. And we, in addition to our own data, we also use all the third-party tools like chain analysis, elliptic, TRM, etc. All of these tools can track the blockchains quite well now. If any of the addresses that this money touches is associated with a address that's on the Binance.com platform, then we can get the KYC information. And then we can go to law enforcement and say, hey, look, and then we can typically find ways to pressure this person to give the money back. We have done this for maybe 6 or 7 projects already. So one of the first rug pulls was for $30 million. Within a week, we found the guy. And we said, look, you either return the money or you're going to jail, or you can try to fly, or you can try to run. But then you'll be running for the rest of your life. It's not worth it. The guy already has a few $1 million before the $30 million. So he returned the money. So we did that for about 6 or 7 projects, but that's a small portion in the grand scheme of things, because we can't. If the hacker's smart, they don't leave traces. The other thing we do is we work with third-party audits firms like Certic and a few other firms to audit smart contracts to make sure that they don't contain glaring holes, etc. So we also work very closely with law enforcement around the world to provide when they want to. We work with them to try to track these cases. So it's not a perfect solution, but we do try our best to do it. But in the decentralized world, this type of risk do exist. We will never be able to eliminate rug pulls completely unless we fully centralize everything, which we can't. Then the guys who then we become Binance.com, right? So so in the full decentralized world, it will always happen, but we try our best to help. But our ability is limited. Yeah.
So I got a meme question and a serious one. First, are funds safe?
I think so, yes. Funds are safe.
Okay. And secondly, how do you manage your relationship with China?
We don't have much of a relationship with China. So Actually, this question comes up quite often. I'll explain this in this live stream. So many people think, number one, Binance is a Chinese company because I look Chinese. That's, I don't blame them. That's normal. If I think you run an exchange, I think it's an Italian exchange. But I was born in China. I left China when I was 12. I went to Canada. So I've been a Canadian for 30-something years in my life. I have not kept my Chinese passport. That's kind of my personal situation with China. So I'm Chinese ethnicity, so I'm Chinese by blood. But I'm Canadian by citizenship, and I've been Canadian for 30-something years. And then as a company, we started, when we started Binance, I was actually in Shanghai. So I went back to China to try to run startups and stuff like that. But Binance was never registered in China. So Binance was always registered. Well, at the beginning, Binance actually didn't even have a registration. It was a decentralized company. We said, well, we don't need a piece of paper that says a company. We didn't need headquarters. We didn't need. Binance started as a crypto to crypto exchange. We didn't touch fiat money. So which basically made us, it's just a website. Any person can own a website. And then later on, we found out that in China, if we want to service Chinese users, we actually have to have an ICP registration. It's called Internet Content Provider, ICP. In order to get that, we actually had to form a Chinese company. So we formed a local company. Actually, one of the team members formed a Chinese company. It was actually not owned by me at all. But then our website got shut down by the Chinese government. So we started in July 14th, 2017. By September 4th, 2017, so a month and a half later, China said, no more crypto exchanges in China. Our website got blocked by the Chinese Great Firewall. So that was it. That was the extent of our China relationship. So then we moved out of China, and since then, we don't really have any relationship with China. But that was 2017. And then 2021, in addition to saying China banned crypto exchanges again, they said we're going to ban miners. And then now they're controlling the internet space. They're controlling the education. They're reducing the education space. So there's severe restrictions in the Chinese economy or the business environment. So in the short term, I don't see any changes. So I don't see us running a business in China anytime soon. So that's the extent of our relationship with China. It's a bit sad, but it's a reality. Yeah.
Hi. First of all, thanks for being here. It's great to meet you in person. So my question is, what's your take within the crypto application within the healthcare sector? So do you think Binance will invest in the healthcare sector in the future, or?
I think that there is a lot to do, or there's a lot of potential in the health sector for crypto, for blockchain. Healthcare sector relies two things, relies very heavily on records. And information privacy, information security is very, very important. So there's a lot that a blockchain can help to solve. There is a second part I will talk about later, but the difficulty in the healthcare sector is it's a very heavily regulated environment, and it's also very segmented. There's many different countries, many different hospitals, many different clinics. The IT systems in healthcare is not fantastic. It's not like, and it's very segmented. It's not like, the internet, there's one search engine that we use quite most of the time. So there's a lot of difficulties in a lot of separate IT systems. It'll be very hard to integrate all of them into a blockchain. So I do not have expertise there. I think whoever's have more expertise in the healthcare, what we call healthcare systems, probably can comment better. There's a secondary application most people are not thinking about is the research that goes on into healthcare. Today we have big data. So and today we have genetic analysis, genetic simulations, gene All of this can be done with computers that use large data. And today we should be able to collect large amounts of data without sacrificing privacy. So that means that we can collect 100 times more data on patients without disclosing any private information. So we can collect some of the information anonymously. So we don't know who the person is, but we know what the symptoms are. We know what drugs are used to treat them. We know what the effects are. And then when we collect large amounts of data like this anonymously, this can be done, this in theory can be done using a blockchain. I don't think it's been done yet. Once we have 100 times more data, the AI, the analysis will become much better. And then we will be in a much better position to more accurately diagnose diseases in much earlier stages. Also for drug research, cure COVID, cure cancer, a lot of these things can happen. So, and actually there's a third aspect. The third aspect is using blockchain to fund some of those research. So today, the medical research happens by a few large pharmacies, and many of them are more incentivized to sell pills or sell shots. So they're incentivized to just sell more and more, whereas there's very little research done on how to progress the human body or our health. So there should be a lot more research labs being allowed to research COVID vaccines, how to cure cancer, how to prevent aging. There's many diseases. So and we can use blockchain to fund many of these projects. So instead of them just a few big farmers doing this, we have a lot more research going on. So that's actually something I'm quite passionate about if I retire. So when I retire. So yeah, that's something I'm looking at, but I'm not really deep into that. But there's a lot of ways that blockchain can help healthcare.
Vedo tante mani alzate, però c'è stato detto che sono le 7:30 passate, dovevamo finire alle 7, quindi abbiamo una domanda lì che è già al microfono e c'è una domanda qua che si è proprio candidato dall'inizio. Quindi facciamo queste due domande e poi vediamo se ancora voglia, dai.
I have an odd question.
Sorry for my Italian, I was quickly to explain.
Hot question.
Okay.
Stand up. If you want to make a let us see you.
Not for financial question or advice, but what are the best projects to invest for you with the Bitcoin and BNB?
What's the best project to
invest in?
For me, I don't really invest in any projects anymore. So actually, the thing I do is I don't hold any investments in any other project other than Binance. I personally do not hold any shares. I personally do not hold coins in other projects. I hold BTC and BNB. Everything that I do. So many people come to me personally and say, hey, look, I have a project. Do you want to invest personally? Or I'll give you some shares. I would say, no, talk to Binance. It's much easier to align the team this way. So then I never have conflict of interest with Binance. I'm okay financially. So I'm not looking for financial gains here and there. I no longer care about that. So I want to be able to help others and make impact. And the best way I can do that is to use the Binance team and use the Binance community to do that. So I don't have any other investments.
Era candidato proprio sin dall'inizio. Sì, ok, abbiamo detto, dai.
Hi, Sisi. I have a curiosity. Why you invested in Twitter?
I think I just explained that.
I read it on Financial Times.
Sorry?
Financial Times, or
no, we didn't invest in financial.
You invested in Twitter. Twitter.
We committed to invest in Twitter and Forbes. But for Twitter, yeah, I explained that before. It was, free speech. Help them to bring from Web 2 to Web 3, and then support Elon Musk and being able to participate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, allora, Sisi, your team say that it's enough. Up to you.
Maybe 3 more.
3 more. The boss said the 3 more, so.
And afterwards, I'll be outside, for whoever want to take photos for a while until everybody gets tired.
Hi, Mr. Zhao. Nice to meet you first. Then I just want to ask you, looking forward to the next 10 years, more or less, what do you think about Bitcoins? Will they be minimized by greater virtual coins? What's your opinion?
Yeah, so on this one, currently, I don't see anything replacing Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a very simple blockchain, but Bitcoin has a number of properties that no one, or very few people have been able to replicate. Bitcoin doesn't have a founder, which is a feature, because it makes it that more decentralized. Ethereum, we still know who the founder is. BNB, unfortunately, we still know who the founder is. So, well, actually, yeah. So having a founder is actually a negative sometimes. Having a founder at the initial stages helps the credibility and growth. But for decentralization, not having the founder around, not knowing the founder is actually a big plus. Today, if Vitalik says his opinion on something, I want to change Ethereum, most people follow. Today, I try not to do it, but if I said something about BNB, probably most people will follow. So there's an outsized potential influence by a very small number of people, which is not good for decentralization purposes. Bitcoin have this property that it's very hard to replace. And Bitcoin is also the most neutral, and it's also the most simple chain. And you also have the network effect. It has the largest market capitalization, it's the most stable, relatively speaking, and the most secure. And when you learn about crypto, when you learn about blockchain, you have to learn about Bitcoin. So that's the entry, grandfather, everybody have to learn about it. And then that gets adoption too. So I think for the foreseeable future, I think Bitcoin will continue to be the global reserve currency for crypto. So that's 10 years is a long time. So, but today I don't see any changes.
Thank you. A lot of members of the European Central Bank have been talking about digital euro. Do you think that the coming into force of the digital euro will create problems for traditional cryptocurrencies?
So the short answer is no. I think the short answer is the more whatever currency we have using blockchain, the better. So there's a few plus and minuses that we need, a few different factors that we need to think about. A central bank digital currency has a few positives. It has a huge amount of educational power, because when the central bank says, okay, this is the new money, and all the shops have to accept it, all the shops are going to be learning about it, and then all the people are going to learn about it. So the educational effort adoption is very significant. It has strong credibility in the sense that if you use euros today, and then you will believe the central bank issued digital currency. So it has strong authority. That will also increase adoption. So those things are very good. And if it's done in such a way that for businesses like cryptocurrency exchanges can integrate directly, then we can integrate that directly, and people will have a much easier time to deposit, withdraw. We'll have a very consistent user interface. We just have to deal with a blockchain. We no longer need to deal with 200, 500 different payment service providers all around the world. So all of those things are good. There's a few potential downsides. Many central bank digital currencies will continue to have the restrictions that they have today. For example, I'll give you a very good example. In China, the word money laundering means that if you move more than 50K US dollars worth of RMB or any money out of China, that's money laundering. 50K US dollars per year per person. So that means if you have a decent job that pays 100K in China, and you want to bring some of the money for mortgage payment here, you can't do it. You can't do it legally. And the application process to bring the rest of the money over is very long and tedious. And end up that most Chinese people, when they make some money in China, they want to buy a house in Italy, and they have to go through less legal means, which actually forces them to become less kosher. So if in the China central bank digital currency, I have a very high expectation that that limitation will continue to exist, which makes that currency much harder to use if you want to use for international cross-border transactions. The other aspect is most of the central bank digital currencies will likely have very strong surveillance attached to it, which basically means the central bank will be able to track every single one of your transactions, which you may or may not want that. I think Europe is a place where we value privacy very highly. That's GDPR. So not sure how people will react to that. So there's different trade-offs. And well, given the I don't know what the ECB or blockchain euro is going to look like yet. I think we have not seen I've not seen the specifications for that. The more freedom it offers, the more privacy it offers, the more likely it will be adopted. Even though it has a very high amount of authority, we still look at fundamental properties of money. What's the freedom? What's the transaction fees? How easy is it to use? What's the privacy level? So all of those things are important. So and there's going to be a few hundred different central bank digital currencies, and not all of them are going to be the same standard. Some of them will become much more better in terms of and also there's limited supply. Most central bank digital currencies will not be of limited supply. So the central bank can continue to increase supply or even reduce supply if they want. Some people may want that, some people may not. So there will be differences, but I don't think it directly, in the short term, I don't think it directly competes with what you call traditional cryptocurrencies, what I call native cryptocurrencies. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Lucia, now it's very difficult. The last question, look how many hands up.
I've never been there.
Put your hands up. Ha deciso tu, Lucia, quindi? Va bene, ha deciso lei, dai.
Hi, good evening, Sisi. Nice to meet you. My question is, why do you think the stock market is still influencing a lot the crypto market?
That's a good question. So in theory, they should diverge. But in practice, today, most of the traders who are trading crypto are also stock traders. And so when the stock's tanking, they want to conserve cash, and they will sell crypto as well. So today, there's a large overlap between crypto traders and stock traders. And so that's one of the main reasons, I believe. The second reason is the stock market is way bigger. Crypto market is so small. So it's like a crypto market, the stock market, like globally, is a few hundred trillion, where crypto market is 1 or 2 trillion or 3 trillion. Well, today is probably close to 1 trillion now. So when you have, it's like a little speedboat, it's like a little life raft beside a big Titanic. When the Titanic sinks, it creates a draft that drags down the little lifeboat. So that's the sort of that's the effect that we're seeing today. So, but I think as time goes on, when the market cap for crypto gets bigger and more people come into crypto, and more people turn into pure crypto, like myself, I hold 100% in crypto. I actually don't look at the stock market at all. I was wondering why the Bitcoin price went down. I was like, what's going on? And then I saw the stock market. So as the market capitalization of Bitcoin gets bigger, I think they will eventually diverge. But today, they still, crypto is so small, you still feel the effects of the stock market.
Zizi, thank you very much for your time, your advice. And as you said, now you will be with us for the rest of the evening. And feel free to meet him. Don't ask money, please. Can we shake hands?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I'll go out there, and for anybody who wants to take selfies, I don't know why people want to do that, but there's always some people who wants to. So no need to rush. Please form a line so that we do it in an orderly fashion. I'll be there for as long as you are not tired.
Sì, per favore ragazzi, farà un selfie con tutti, ma in maniera ordinata. Uscite lentamente dalla stanza perché siete tantissimi. Grazie a tutti.
L'ultimo applauso, dai.
Grazie.
Let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh, no. Let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh, let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh, Let's ride. We're gonna ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. We're gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh, let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh, let's ride. We're gonna ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. We're gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh, let's ride. Gonna ride. Let's ride. Oh,